Yunus, hello, nice to see you again.
You too.
Obviously the Conti Cup game was postponed. It's been rearranged for next Wednesday. Does that help you on Sunday, and how frustrating was it to be postponed?
Yes, it was frustrating, but I think I don't. If you take Conti Cup as an example, and with the regulations around it and the format of it, I don't think, or actually I do think it's a tournament that other countries look at and just say like that's not how we should run a tournament. I think there is a lot of room for improvement in that, in ensuring a better competition. Probably something that needs looking at.
Quite bizarrely, after the game was called off, Carolina Morace, the coach of the Lionesses, was sacked in the evening when the match should have been taking place, even though there was no match. I mean, it was bizarre. What was your reaction to that?
I don't know. They probably would have had another timing on the press release, at least. I think otherwise it would have been very bizarre. I never heard about a coach getting released from the duties during the game.
What are your thoughts on this game on Sunday, Jonas? It's a huge match, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big game against a very good Manchester City. We really look forward to it. These are the games we look forward to play the most. It's going to be an exciting challenge.
Any team news for us? I mean, what are your thoughts on starting Leah Williamson again after playing the first 45 against West Ham?
I mean, obviously she has reacted well from that, and that means that she can play more minutes. Then who's going to start and who's not going to start, that we have 2 more training sessions, and after that we take a decision.
How far away is she from playing a full 90, would you say, at the moment?
She's much closer now than she was last week.
What's been said in the wake of West Ham last weekend, Jonas?
Like I said, we had learnings from that game in things that we can control better, especially around the way that we position when we have the ball. I think the players' response has been very, very good. I think we've practiced well. I would really look forward to see them play against London City Lionesses, to see how we have progressed since the West Ham game, but now we have to do it against Man City instead.
Do you think there's going to be a big reaction on Sunday?
I think we're a very focused team that really want to compete, so that's what I hope.
After West Ham, you were 6 points behind Chelsea. I know you're going to say the WSL isn't over by any means, but is there a big focus now on the Cups, and realistically, are the Cups the way to silverware this season for Arsenal?
Don't think like that. Every game needs maximum preparation, every game needs maximum focus, and that's the way we're going about it.
The game with City in November was quite close. You've had some really good games, haven't you, at Meadow Park against City, but done quite well there. What have your memories been of recent games with City at Meadow Park?
Of course, we have happy memories. I think we won all the games against Manchester City that I take a part on Meadow Park. But there have always been quite intense games, challenging games. Apart from the first one that we won 5-0, I think the games have been decided on small margins, and you need to work very hard as a collective to get those. So we know and we understand that that's going to be the case this Sunday as well.
Good luck to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jamie. Yunus, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Very good. Just touching back on that Meadow Park statement, obviously big week coming up with City, then London City, and then Man United. How important is it to have the fans in those home games really pull you guys through?
Our fans is extremely important to us, and both the way they support us home and away. It's been incredible, especially this season, and of course if we can continue to get that support in these 3 games here, that's going to be a massive factor for us in order to get good performances and good results.
And just again on Leah Williamson, having her back as a player is obviously massive for you, but also as a leader. Kim Little's obviously been in and out of injury, Katie McCabe is quite a solid one in there, but how important is it having Leah back just as a leader on the field?
Very important.
That's all from me.
Thank you.
James. Hi, Jonas.
Hi.
After losing your previous WSL game before Christmas, you had a 5-week break before the next game, whereas this week you're meant to obviously have 2 games, and now you've got a busy run of fixtures coming up. Do you prefer getting straight back into it after a loss like that, or is it nice to have a break to just get the team away from that mindset almost?
I'm adaptable. It's if you have more time, then you work with that. If you have less time, then you work with that. It's not really about what you prefer. It's about how you adapt and make the best out of the situation.
And we saw Stina Blackstenius during the week talk about finding this season a learning curve of trying to find her role within the squad and working within a deeper squad than last season. How important do you find cup games for getting other players into the squad, getting people incorporated in?
I mean, obviously we built the squad for all our competitive games during the season. It's not only 22 league games. We hope to be involved deep in 4 competitions, but we went out early in Europe, so that shaved off, unfortunately, a couple of games for us. But we built a squad to be able to compete in all those 4 competitions. That means that the competition is tough, but it also means that there is a clear reason why you are in this squad, why we want you to be in this squad as well, because you have a clear role and responsibility to play in that. And I think Stina has been doing that very well this season.
And just last for me, we saw in this season's game against Manchester City being decided by mostly mistakes and it being a very tight game. How much does that play into your preparation for this weekend's game?
Like I said, it's going to be a game decided by small margins, I believe. The thing in football is you never know what moment is going to provide those small margins. And that's what makes it such an intriguing and fascinating game as well. If you would know which second to switch on, then it would be easy. But there are hundreds of potential situations that can be game deciding. And you need to treat each one of them that way. Because otherwise you're not doing the utmost of the things you can control in order to get the result. And that's the challenge. And the team that's going to do that best, I think it's the team that's going to win.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sophie.
Hey, Yonus. Last year you had a game away to Brighton cancelled quite late because of the unplayable pitch. I think you brought the players back to the training ground and you used it as a time to have a session with them rather than just saying, oh, well, that's the day gone. I was just wondering what Wednesday looked like when you found out the game was off.
Yeah, we switched our mindset very quickly. Like I said, it's no point on dwelling on the past year. So we changed the whole operation in 10 minutes time to make sure that we changed the nutrition time to the players. We were able to go out and have a good training session here. We obviously have to respect the natural light here because we don't have any floodlights to train under, and making sure the players got nutrition after. I think given the circumstances, the players did a splendid job. The staff did a splendid job making sure that we turned that around, and it really showed how far we have come as an organization in order to be able to do so and still get something out of a day, which was not what we wanted, but it was something, and that's much better than nothing.
And you're playing again at Meadow Park against a team that like to be quite expansive. Maybe it's not a question you want to answer, but is there a conscious decision to play on a slightly smaller pitch at Meadow Park rather than seeing if the Emirates was a viable option?
No fear at all playing them at the Emirates. I would do that any day of the week. Thank you.
Thanks, Sophie. We'll come to the call now. Tim, if you want to begin.
Yeah, sure. Hi, Jonas. I interviewed Manu last Friday, and I think it's one of my favourite interviews I've ever done.
Happy for you.
Talking just because, we were talking about particularly the psychology of being a goalkeeper, and I look at data and things like that. Like, she's catching, I think, 3 times the number of crosses she caught compared to last season. That to me is a very clear indication she worked very hard on that. But there's no denying that last Sunday she makes quite a big error. I think it's probably her first one of the season, but a big error nonetheless. I wondered, when something like that happens, do you have a conversation with that player? Do you leave that to Sebastian Barton? Or do you just kind of say, these things happen? Like, how do you, particularly with a character like Manu, broach something like that?
Yeah, support We work with athletes that try their very, very best in every situation, and we see it at all levels of the game that sometimes mistakes happens to it. And the worst thing I think you can do when those mistakes happens is to react in a way where it's not acceptable, because now what you create is a culture of fear. A culture of fear of making mistakes, and that's not the football that we want to portray. We want to be a brave team. We want to be a team that take initiative. We want to be a team that dare playing out against pressure, for example, that dare solving situations. And if you're going to have any chance of being that team, you have to have a culture of bravery. And that means that mistakes are going to be a part of it. And the person that never does anything will maybe never commit any clear mistakes, but it's probably the biggest mistake you do to be passive and not taking initiative. So keep going, be supportive, and as long as you're trying your very best, that's all I can ask for.
Thanks. And just a quick one. It sounds like the Canadian players are going to be allowed to stay for the Manchester United game, given what Bev Priestman said. I wonder if there was any update on Emily Fox in the US with regards to that Manchester United game.
Yeah, so what's been said with the US players is that all the US players is going to be treated the same, and they've been requested to travel in accordance with the FIFA regulations. So that will be after our game against Manchester City. That's what's going to happen with Emily Fox, and then of course what we think is going to happen with all the other US players as well.
Thanks, Jonas. Speak Sunday.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Jesse.
Hey Jonas, I feel like in